Stepford County Railway currently has 4 different operators to choose from, all having completely different trains, routes, branding and purposes to one another. And well over 3 years ago, I ranked them all based on 4 different categories in a video you all seem to enjoy. However, SCR has changed so much to the point where the ratings I gave back then will be drastically different to what I'd give today. So, this time we have 5 different categories, those being trains, stations, routes, the operator's purpose, and a community vote decided from a poll conducted on this channel. And I'll also be giving up to 4 points in each category based on placement, with the community vote being worth as much as 6 points. So, without further ado, let's start with the trains. I'll be ranking these based off of the quality and selection available for each operator, and how well each train suits the operators. Starting off with Connect, who has the largest selection of trains out of any other operator, with a total of 24 different trains to choose from. However, in its selection is its downfall. You see, Stepford Connect tends to be a stopper service between the towns and cities in the game. However, it includes trains that are commonly seen on semi-fast and fast services in real life, such as the Class 185, the Class 350, and the Class 68. These are trains which have operated with TransPennine Express in real life on services that make limited stops. In fact, the Class 350 currently operates with London North Western Railway on semi-fast services out of London to Birmingham and Crewe. Alongside this, the Class 68 sets are operated on semi-fast services by Chiltern Railways between London and Birmingham too. In terms of the train models themselves, they're mostly pretty good. However, some trains, such as the Class 168, the Class 333, 444, and both variants of the Class 458, looking more outdated and in need of a refresh. Next up is Waterline, who has 9 trains to choose from, and focuses more on short-distance commuter-style trains for its fleet, with just 2 of which looking outdated, those being the Class 143 and the Class 730. In practicality, all but one of these trains work for Waterline. The one outlier here is a Class 379, which is a train that saw usage on the Stansted Express route. That's right, a former airport express train being used on Waterline. Furthermore, these trains are supposed to be re-entering service with Great Northern on fast services to Cambridge, Ely, and Kings Lynn in real life. However, all the other trains seem to be fit for their intended purpose on Waterline, and the Class 379 just seems to be an outlier here. Penultimately, we have Airlink, who uses 8 different trains for their services, with most of which being used on airport services in real life, and all but the Class 332 having a model that is up to standards of the current game. My one complaint about the operator's fleet is the Class 755, which suits Connect more than Airlink, and should ideally be replaced with the Class 745, which is just a longer variant of the same train, which is currently in use with Stansted Express in real life. Although this isn't that much of an issue, and is likely to be fixed in a future update, now that the Longer Trains Game Pass has been in game. And finally, we have Express, which has the smallest collection of trains at 7, all of which are being of good quality and fit a fast and intercity operator. That being said, there isn't too much to complain or brag about with this operator. So, for trains, Express takes the lead, earning them 4 points, with Airlink coming behind with 3 points. Waterline gets 2 points, and Connect unfortunately just gets 1 point. Now we move on to the stations. SCR currently has 68 different railway stations, with all of them being operated by different operators across the network. I'll rate this segment based on the overall qualities of the stations by its operator, and whether or not they fit the purpose of the individual operators. Let's start with Connect, who operates 35 stations across the network. From quaint rural stations like Upper Staplow and Aslockby, to the big town and city centre stations of Coxley, Financial Quarter, and Rayleigh Bay. Now, most of these stations are of pretty good quality in my opinion, with 10 of which, equivalent to around 28.5%, being in need of an upgrade. On top of this, they don't actually operate any major stations, which is realistic for an operator like Connect. Next up, we have Waterline, who operates 16 stations, with most of which being of very good quality, with 5 of which, equivalent to 31.25% of their stations, being in need of an upgrade. However, all of their stations actually suit a commuter operator, so they fulfill their purpose in my opinion. Airlink operates 6 stations, all of which being of very good quality, so can't really argue about the quality of the stations here. Although there is one small problem. Why is Ellesmere Junction an Airlink station? If you think about it, Airlink is an airport express service, and in real life, similar operators only tend to own and operate the airport stations, and Ellesmere Junction is not in the airport. This is the equivalent of Stansted Express operating Tottenham Hale, or Gatwick Express operating Haywards Heath. But hey, the station quality is alright. Anyway, Express operates just a measly 3 stations, those being Leighton Stepford Road, West Wyvern and North Shore. The sheer lack of operated stations is actually laughable, but bonus points for operating North Shore, and at least all of their stations are of very good quality. So this means for stations, Waterline gets 4 points, and Connect is just behind them with 3 points. Airlink's in 3rd place getting 2 more points, and Express walks back with just 1 point here. Next up is routes. SCR has 78 routes that you can drive across the 4 operators. Points for this round will be given off of the selection of routes available, and how practical they are with the operator. Connect operates 43 routes, the largest number of any operator, with short distance routes, such as Beachley to Stepford Victoria, to the longest route in the game, going from Willowfield all the way to Lynn by the Sea. All of these services are stopping services, which means that most stations along the routes they serve have a lot of Connect routes stopping at them, which makes sense for Connect, but as a whole, it's so unnecessary having so many different types of routes being operated on Connect. Next up is Waterline, who operates 11 routes. The shortest routes they operate are the routes starting at Benton and that terminate at Greenslade and Morganstown, and the longest route they operate is between Newry and Esterfield. Waterline's purpose seems to be a metro-style commuter network, and the routes they operate seem to suit that purpose well. Airlink operates 10 routes, mainly going from Stepford and Leighton to the airport, alongside a shuttle service around the terminals. Obviously, Airlink is an operator who provides airport express services, so these routes fit that role quite clearly, so it's bound to get a good ranking. Finally, Express operates 14 routes, with some of which being long-distance high-speed services between Stepford and Lynn, with shorter routes and some quite frankly interesting choices of routes too. Which begs a question: why does Stepford Express go to Rayleigh Bay and Newry Harbour? I understand that some express operators in real life do serve lines that don't make sense, mainly being Avanti West Coast services to Blackpool and Wrexham. But for a region like Stepford County, which is relatively small and doesn't seem to have many population centres, why would Express need to serve lesser used branch lines? But anyway, time for the rankings. I think that Airlink takes the lead for routes here with 4 points, as well, it's quite difficult to make an airport express operator have some weird routes. In 2nd place, we have Waterline with 3 points, Connect therefore gets 2 points, and Express just gets 1 point. Next up is the purpose of the operators. I'll be ranking this based off of what the purpose of each operator seems to be, and whether or not the operator suits that purpose. Starting off with Connect, who as I said earlier seems to be a regional operator that operates stopper services around the map, and also includes commuter services around the Stepford area. The purpose of Connect seems to be like a lot of other operators in real life, with a melting pot of different service patterns and types of operation under one brand. All things considered, Connect serves this purpose quite well, so there isn't much to complain about. Waterline's network seems to be a commuter service around the Benton area, and reminds me of the Merseyrail network, or even the Glasgow Suburban Railway network operated by ScotRail, and it suits that purpose very well, especially when it comes to rolling stock and services operated. Waterline seems to have a very consistent style, and it's easy to understand what it's trying to be. Airlink's purpose seems to be an airport express service, similar to that of Gatwick or Heathrow Express, because it provides a fast service between Stepford and Leighton and the airport. And all things considered, it seems to fulfil that purpose quite well despite a few questionable rolling stock allocations and their operations of Ellesmere Junction. Finally, Express's purpose is a high-speed express service between Stepford and Lynn, right? Sure, you have those services that run between the two cities, however it seems to diverge away from that purpose, especially after recent updates. For example, with the aforementioned Newry Harbour and Rayleigh Bay services. It seems like Express is diverging away from being a high-speed or intercity operator, and is slowly turning into cross-country, which is confusing and doesn't really make any sense in my opinion. So, with that being said, Waterline takes the lead here with 4 points, with Airlink trailing behind with 3 points, then Connect is in 3rd place with 2 points, and Express just gets 1 point yet again. Finally, we have the community vote, which was decided by around 1,000 people on my community tab. Remember, the 1st place here gets 6 points, the runner-up gets 4 points, the 3rd place gets 2 points, and the last place just gets 1 point. So, without further ado, let's see who the best operator in SCR is according to my viewers. In last place, with 15% of the votes, is Connect, which is a bit of a shock to be honest, as it is the flagship operator of the game. In third place, with 19% of the votes, is Airlink, which is an interesting result, but not the most surprising. In second place, with 25% of the votes, is Waterline, which is actually quite shocking. In the community beforehand, it always seemed that Waterline was a bit unloved. This means that the winner, with 41% of the votes, is Express, which isn't surprising at all. Now, it's time to tally up the votes and decide which operator is the best in SCR, as of January 2025. Please note that the results here are mostly subjective, and you are more than welcome to disagree with these results in the comments. So, without further ado, let's see the results. In last place, with 9 points, is Connect, which isn't what I expected to be the outcome. As it turns out, Connect has a lot of their plate, and is just a bit basic. Sure, it goes pretty much everywhere, but it seems to be like a bread and butter operator, and I guess that the fanbase aren't the most keen with it either. In third place, with 13 points, is Express. Despite being a fan favourite and having the best selection of rolling stock, the lack of variety and independence that this operator has, alongside some questionable extensions, brings this operator down. In second place, with 14 points, is Airlink. This mainly seems to be up here because it does exactly what it says on the tin. It's an airport express operator, and that's all that it needs to do. This means that Waterline is the best operator in SCR, taking the lead with 17 total points, which is a definite shot. This mainly seems to be down to the recent rolling stock and station upgrades that have helped benefit Waterline massively, and I'm sure that the James Street extension and airport upgrade has helped this operator a ton recently. But there is one thing left, however, the elephant in the room, Metro. It's all that the community has been talking about for the past few weeks. This is confirmed to be the 5th operator of the game, and has had the community hyped to see what is in store for the operator. I'm not going to speculate on this video, especially considering all the other speculations that have been about, but it's pretty much unanimously known that this will likely be a Stepford based commuter operator. Obviously, I can't rank this now in this video, and even when the update does come out, it'll still take a few more updates and some likely expansions to put it up against the 4 original operators of the game. That being said, if you're watching this at a time where Metro is an SCR, then let me know how it fares against the other operators in the game. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you have enjoyed it and would like to see more videos like it, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'd also like to take the time to thank my channel members who are on screen now, who have been able to see this video before everybody else. If you do want to support this channel financially, then you can do so for as little as 99p per month by clicking the join button or through the link in the description. But anyway, I'm Vex, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!